thing that one guy rewatched the recording, and he sent me a screenshot that like the presentation wasn't recorded for the first like 30 minutes. And yeah, I'd like just to double check that you're seeing the presentation, like the authorization slide. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it. Always
Okay,
see.
great. Yeah, okay. I hope that it was just like a local issue with previous recording. I hope that with that one everything will be fine. But unfortunately, I don't know how to test it. Yeah, of course, we can stop the recording, wait until it created, then check it, then run the recording again. But even if it doesn't work, I don't know how to fix it. Okay, I think we can start. And yeah, today we'll talk about authorization and notification, and how to do it with Node.js. And again, yeah, my name is still Ivan. Okay, here just again, quick. So we already know this slide. Let's move to the next one. And yeah, agenda for the today's lecture is the next. First of all, we talk about Q&A session, about your questions. Yeah, I'll start from Q&A session. After that, we'll talk about authorization and authentication and the difference between them. And also we talk about specific way to authenticate users is GVT. And after that, we'll again talk about Q&A. And also, since the presentation for today's lecture is really small, because it's not because like the topic is easy, but just because there are not a lot of information we can share with you at this point. Yeah. I mean, like for the beginning level, the information we are going to share with you will be enough. But I think we can have a kind of live coding session. I will share the screen and try to implement something with Node.js with GVT, just to, I don't know, show to you how I'm doing it. But it again will depend if we have enough time and if you like it. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, let's start from Q&A. Yeah, you can ask any questions about the homework, about maybe previous topics. Yeah, and I already see some questions in the chat. The bot will check the homework that explains why the package.json needs to be in the root folder. Yeah, we have a checker. It will be checked automatically. I don't check it by my hands, like it will be done automatically. That's why there are a lot of limitations that we unfortunately have to align to, because yeah, if there is no package.json the root directory, or there is no start script, bot will not know how to start the application. Do project always require a database if we want to implement authentication? Also, okay, the first question is about database for authentication. Actually, the short answer is no, because sometimes you can use some services for authentication. For example, you can use some like Firebase service that will provide identification, or Auth0 service, and you'll be just consuming this service, and all information about the users, about their passwords, about their emails will be stored on these services, and you'll be just consuming this information. In that case, it's not needed, but for most of other cases, you'll be needed to store some information. So you cannot authenticate user if you don't know like the password of this user. Like user provides you information about himself, like the login and the password, and you need to get this information from somehow to from somewhere to check if the information user provided correct or not. So for that case, yeah, of course, you need to store the data somewhere. Also, does it mean I must know about database before learn authentication? Actually, it doesn't, because you can store. It's not necessary for the, I mean, for learning. Yeah, it's not necessary to store the data in database. You can store this data in just an array. Yeah, and of course, it's not good for a production project, but it's okay. It's good for learning. You can store the data in some array, and put this data to array, get this data, some user data from array, and you don't need to use SQL or MongoDB, yeah, because you're just focusing on authentication and authorization instead of learning databases. But again, if you are going to run the production project, of course, you'll be needed to know how to set up databases, how to run them, how to use them, even if you need just a small like login password authentication. Okay, let's wait for some more questions if you have them. Why in Node.js we use much framework for each topic? Actually, for the previous lecture, I've shared several frameworks for you. Yeah. So first of all, there are a lot of frameworks in Node.js. That's true. That's because we have a big community, a lot of developers, and that's the reason why we have a lot of frameworks. But in most cases, there are only like 2 or 3 of them that if you even like if you know Express, you will be able to work on, I don't know, 60% of projects. Yeah, because in most cases, Express is used as a backend. If you learn NestJS, you will be able to work on, I don't know, 80% of projects. It's just numbers from my head, but I'm trying to show you that like for the big amount of project, only a small amount of frameworks are used. But of course, there are a lot of specific frameworks that should be used on some like another projects. And our goal was to share like the diversity of frameworks, and you can use any of them, but it most likely that you'll be needed to learn a new frameworks. And our goal just to share that we have a lot of them, and if you know the way how one framework is like structured, you'll be able to work almost on any frameworks. Also, we've shared different libraries for database management. Yeah, we call them ORMs. Yeah. So yeah, we also have a big amount, not really big amount, but several popular ORMs for different databases. And again, TypeORM, SQLize, and Mongoose, three these ORMs, they are the most popular ones. If you know them, you will be able to work on a big amount of projects without any learning. But there are a lot more of them. You'll be need to learn them if you're joining the project where another ORM is like used. And yeah, to sum up, we learn because it's important to know the way how frameworks libraries work. But in practice, you won't be needed to use all of them. Of course, in one project will be only one framework. But in JS, we learn about JS. I think if you learn only about JS for this, so in future, you'll be need to learn also a lot of, not a lot of, but so a bunch of libraries for HTTP, for, I don't know, parsing some cookies and so on and so on. There are a lot of libraries that you need to know because they are used really like often. And if you want to create a big front-end application, you will be need to learn framework. I don't know the program that you're learning, but it's most likely that you will be needed to learn React or Angular. It's a front-end frameworks, and yeah, it's not only JS on front-end as well. So for our homework validation, each homework must be in different GitLab projects. Actually, it's not necessary, but it's better to to have different repositories. Yeah, the reason, so actually you can, for example, submit the first homework, then deadline is passed, you've earned some amount of score, and after that you can change the same repository and complete the second task in the same repository. It will be possible, but you will lose, it will be easier maybe for you in future to compare them and so on. But if you're okay, the bot won't see any problems if the same repository will be used for the second task. So yeah, the short answer is it's not needed, but it's like kind of easier maybe for you and yeah, for the history. Okay, I don't see any questions. I think we can go. I see the question. NoSQL main advantage is high level of security and the ability to bypass hardware restriction. I'm not sure about. I'm not sure, but actually I cannot answer this question. Yeah, because I need to read the article. Maybe there are some answers about hardware restrictions, but I haven't heard about that. I mean, high level of security, it can be also the benefit of some SQL database, and also hardware restriction cannot be bypassed. So I don't know. I cannot answer this question. Actually, I'm not fully agree with this sentence. Yeah, for example, if you have, I don't know, 5 GB of RAM memory, you won't be able to store more RAM memory. So that's why it's really impossible to bypass hardware restriction, but maybe I don't understand anything. Okay, let's go to our topic. Yeah, and let's talk about authentication and actually about authorization as well, but for a little bit. So talking about authentication and authorization, that's they are very similar terms, but in in practice, a lot of people mixes up them because they are very similar, and there are differences between them. Authentication is a way how some system can understand who you are. Yeah. For example, when you provide your credentials like login and password, some site can say like, okay, I know hello everyone, I know you. That is authentication. Yeah, because this website understands who am I. Authorization is a next step. Authorization is a way how this site can understand what like files, directories, resources, I don't know, some actions you have access to. For example, after I put my credentials, the website said, okay, I know you, Ivan, hello. And then I'm trying to go to, I don't know, admin part of the website. And then this website says, okay, Ivan, I know that you're Ivan, but I know that you're not an admin. Yeah, that's why I'm going to restrict your access to this like admin part of the website. This is authorization. Yeah, that's the difference. Between them. So authentication is about understanding that the person who is trying to access site is the one is like the one we know who is. Yeah. Authorization is the process when some I don't know service understands what access do you have. And talking about like that's actually it about authorization. We won't talk in details more about authorization. We will talk about authentication today. Yeah, talking about authentication, we have the most popular parts of authentication. The first one is the basic one. Is the most popular. It's the most simple one. Basic authentication is just password-based authentication. So when you want to create your website and you want to use basic authentication, you just need to create a user and the username and the password, or even a set of users and passwords, like the pairs of them, and after that the user can just provide username, password, and try to access your site. And that's basic authentication. But I'll tell you a little bit more later about basic authentication. But when you go to, let's say, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and provide your credentials there, actually, it's not a basic authentication. Yeah, it's something. Maybe it can be JSON, web token, or anything else, but it's not a basic. I will tell you about like details later. So the next way is GWT, is JSON web token. Is like more modern way. Yeah, when you create the web token for the user, and the user uses this web token for each request, and yeah, this token provide the information about the user. The next way, the most popular ones today is Auth, yeah, is the way how to authenticate the user by using another service. For example, you can access some website. Let's say you're going to create the account in, I don't know, GitHub. Yeah, you can use your Google account to create the account in GitHub. And the way how GitHub will authenticate you, yeah, is the name of this process is Auth. I will tell you again about each type later. Also, it's more like abstract terms like basic JSON, passwords, usernames. But how do we how can we provide this information to the server? Yeah, for example, when user puts his information, yeah, clicks login. After that, how website will understand that after this login, user will see like his messages, his, I don't know, channels. Then the user click like send the message, and the request will be sent from the front end to back end. And how server will understand that this request belongs to this user. So that's why we need to provide the information about user like authentication stuff in the request. And there are two main ways how we can do it. It's like request body. It's not really popular one, yeah. And the second one is HTTP header. So this one, the most popular one, yeah. And in most cases you'll use HTTP header. So when you authenticate the user, this user will be needed to send a specific HTTP header with details about his authentication for each request. So on the server side, we'll read this HTTP header and check if the user has access or not. Yeah, talking about basic Auth. Here, there's an example how it works. So we try to get some endpoint from server. Yeah, we clicks how we make request to home. Server said us like, I'm sorry, there is no authentication header. I don't trust you. After that, we make the same request, but now we provide authorization header. After it's like the header name. In the value, we provide the string that starts with basic and then space, and then you can see like kind of a lot of different symbols, but actually it's just encoded information about username and passwords and password. So this like strange string is just base 64 encoded string, is just a protocol that you can use for encoding or decoding string. And after that, the server will decode this information. When we decode this information, we'll see the username and the password. And this username and password will be checked on the server. If the username and password match some existing username and password pair, yeah, then server will say, okay, 200 status, I trust you. yeah, here's the example of how basic authorization works. Yeah, when you open some site, there is like prompt. You can provide the information about username and password, click login, and after that, this header will be sent. And yeah, that's why I've said you before, like when you use, for example, Facebook, and when you log in by using username and password, you can see that after login, in any request, you won't see basic in the authorization header, because Facebook will not send from front end information about username and password. Because, for example, if you're using your Facebook account and you forgotten to log out from this account, I can go to your computer, make any request, and check in the like network tab, check the request that was sent, go to authorization header, copy this information, decode the token we sent, yeah, like after basic word, and check what password do you have. The next way, how can we authenticate the user, is OAuth 2.0. We also had OAuth first version, but yeah, the second one is more popular one. I'm not sure about popularity, but of course it's more modern one, and yeah, it's not needed to use the first version. So here we have not just backend and the front end. We have also, yeah, I see the question in the yeah, before I explain this OAuth way, I'll answer the question. Does server will check credentials with every request? Yes, it will check every request. And does it affect performance web? Actually, of course it will affect, but the affection won't be really huge. Yeah, if we're talking about, let's say, basic authorization, and the server is just needed to decode the string and check from existing password, it won't take a lot of time. Also, if we're talking about some sessions, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about them later, or GVT tokens, it will be needed also to make additional call to database or to some database or specific database that stores the data in memory to make it faster. Yeah, we'll be needed to make a special request to the server to I'm sorry, in the server to database to get the information about the user, and check that the information user provides and the information we got from database are the same. But the performance, like we won't see a big performance issues, because yeah, it's just one request and that's fine. But of course it will be faster if we don't check. And actually, security, it's always the thing how we can, if we provide a better security, we'll see some issues with performance, with user experience. Yeah, for example, you can agree that it will be easier if you don't need to provide 2FA, let's say, password. Yeah. When you have a 2FA password, you has a better security. When you provide your login and password, then you need to provide the SMS code or the code from some authentication application. Yeah, it's not really like handy. Yeah, you need to do it. It takes time, and it will be easier to skip this step. But in that case, you will have less security in your like login process. The same thing for almost anything. You can skip authorization process. You can trust more to clients, but in that case, you will improve performance, but will decrease the security. Yeah, that's how it works. Actually, when you work with your browser, you use HTTPS connection. So there are a special, several special things that have to be done before this connection is created, and so on. And of course, it also affects performance. So yeah. Okay, then talking about OAuth 2.0. So instead, except like our client, front end, application, doesn't matter, and the server, in that case, we have resource owner. We have also two more things. It's authorization server and resource server. To make it easier for you to understand this thing, let's say that user, like resource owner, is just our backend application. Yeah, we just making some, I don't know, online shop, and this is backend for our online shop. Application is our front end part. It's just a it's just a website which will be used to get some information about the goods that we are selling. Authorization server and resource server, it's all two servers. They belong to Google. Yeah, the thing we are going to do is just to create ability for users to log into our website through by using their Google account. And yeah, now we can go through the steps. First of all, user clicks like login through Google button, and we makes request to user to our backend. After that, our backend creates a special like endpoint and to the front end, and the front end provides this information we get from the server to Google. After that, if you are not logged in to Google, you'll be need to log in. If you're logged in, you'll be needed to just click like access, I allow, and something like that button. After that, if you click this button, Google will send back the access token. Yeah. Uh, After this access token is sent back, this application can use this access token to get some information from Google. Let's say it can get the information about your username and so on and so on. And this information can be stored on server. And yeah, that's how it will work. So this how you can use some services, some service providers, yeah, and you can like move the authentication part on their side. Okay, that's like just an easy diagram. In practice, there are a lot more details. It's a big protocol. You can get you can get acquainted with them by googling them, by googling it. There are a lot of articles. Yeah, I'm not going to go deeper here, but it's like really interesting thing. And the next part is GVT. GVT is like very again very popular way how to go. How can we authenticate or authorize users. So GVT is JSON Web Token, and we can provide the token. And inside this token, we will have the information about the user. This token has three parts. First one is a header. So inside header, we just have some meta information. Let's say we can have algorithm which will be used for signature. We can have a token type. We can have some again additional information. Then payload. So payload is again a JSON, and inside this payload can be a lot of different important information. So this information will be important for us. It can be user ID, it can be anything else, it can be user role or anything we want, but we cannot provide the sensitive information here. So providing the password in the payload or even in any part of GVT header, GVT token, it's not a good idea because the content of the GVT token can be decoded. Yeah, and the last part is signature. So let me try to explain how it works. So when user logins to some website, this website generates the token. So this token will contain some header. It's not interesting for us, but in payload, this token will have the information, for example, about user ID. Yeah, and this token will be sent back to the front end. So after that, the front end will include this token to every request that will be made to the server. And on the server, server will see this token, decode this token, get the information about user ID, and now we know that user is trying to the user like A is trying to access this website, and we can do anything else. We can like allow or not allow, or we can, I don't know, for example, if there is like request get my friends, yeah, and we provide authentication token, I'm sorry, GVT token. On the backend, we decode this token, get the ID of the user, and now we know which user is trying to get his friends. Yeah, if we don't know this ID, we won't be able to return the response because we don't know which friends should be returned. And you might ask the question, okay, if it's possible to like decode the token, yeah, we can decode this token on front end and change the payload, like from user ID 1, change it to user ID 24. and then we can decode this token. I'm sorry, encode this token again, and send it back to server in each request, and the server like won't know that the token was changed. Actually, it's not true, because we have the third part. The name of this part is signature. So inside this part, um, it's just okay. Before talking about third part, there is yeah, uh, I was talking about encoding and decoding. Um, I was talking about base 64 algorithm, and we can use this algorithm. We can decode the token. I'm sorry, we can encode the token, and we can without any problems or performance issue decode this token. But there are algorithms like SHA 200. Okay, I don't remember the name of the like algorithms, but the name of such algorithm is hash, like hash functions, hashing algorithms, and so on. So these algorithms, they are able to like encode or hash some data into like some, I don't know, hash or some code. And the interesting part that this like code, the result can be reverted. We cannot decode this information. So we can encode, we can like get some data, then put this data into hash function, and the result will be just a lot of numbers, symbols, but we cannot from these numbers or symbols get the data we hashed. So but when we use the same data with the same function, hash function, the result will be the same. And that's how like a lot of security things work in our like browsers, in the servers, and so on. So signature uses such algorithms. So inside signature, we provide a header, then we add to this header the body, yeah, like I mean payload, and to the end of the things we also add we add some secret. It's just kind of secret string that will be stored on the backend side. So this string won't be provided to front end. After that, all these thing will be concatenated. It will be just a very long string, and we provide this string to the hash function, and the result of this hash function will be just a lot of like some sequence of numbers and symbols, and this like result is just a signature, and we provide the signature to the token. So now we have three parts. The first part is header, the second part is payload, and the third part is signature. First two parts we can decode, the third part cannot be decoded. So it means that we cannot read the secret. And yeah, according to the process, when you change some payload inside this JVT token, then you provide this token in authorization header and send the request to the backend. Backend will do the same thing. The backend will get the header, then add to this header payload data. And remember, you changed user ID, you changed payload data. Then add the secret that is stored only in backend. And then our server will try to create a signature by using this hash function that I explained before. And we have a signature. After that, the backend will check if the signature that we got from the like from generation from header and payload, does the signature match the signature that we have in the token? If yes, okay, that means that the token wasn't changed and everything is okay. If the signature is not the same, it means that the token was changed and we don't trust this token. Okay, that's how JVT token works. I I hope you understand at least anything. If you don't understand anything, just ask me. I'll try to explain that. Um, but to sum up everything, JVT do not like hide the data. User can see the data that we have in JVT. Users can see payload and header, but users cannot change this data. That's how JVT works. We provide the data to front end. This data will be sent us back, and we can check if this data was changed or not. Okay, I hope you understand anything from what I explained here to you. I think we can go next, but before, okay, yeah, we can go next. I'll little bit more explain you about the sessions. So when we're talking about like GVT and ways to authenticate the user, we also have the approach when we use cookie. So when user authorized, in the result from the backend, user will have the session ID. This session ID will be stored to user cookies, and with every request, cookie will be automatically sent. It's like I'm sorry, it's the characteristic of cookies, yeah. And the cookies will be automatically sent, and the backend will check the session ID. And by this session ID, the backend will go to some database, get the information about the user, and everything will be okay. Here the example how it will work. Yeah, we use post request. The result of this request is some session ID, and the backend we create the session to the database. We create the session ID. We create some information about like who uses this session, and we send it back to front end. On the front end, this session ID will be stored in cookie, and in next request, this cookie will be sent to backend, and backend will see the session ID, go to some database, get the information about this session, and by session ID, it can see that okay, we have some user, and we can do anything with this information, and then send the response back. By using GVT token, the process will be almost the same, but the difference that we won't be needed to create anything on backend side. Like GVT is independent, it's not needed to have some um, like records, some sessions on the backend. So we create a GVT token, we send it back to frontend. The frontend will be needed to send this GVT in every request in authorization header, and we check this GVT token. We don't need to check like sessions and so on, because all information we can get from GVT token. And after that, we again send back requests. So it's these two approaches, they are similar, but the difference is we don't need to have like session storage on backend. Okay, actually that's it about authorization that I wanted to tell you. As I already said at the beginning, the lecture is like short. Here the example of task you can do to practice with GVT, with NodeJS, with authentication. We have a JSON VIP token npm package. This package can be used to create tokens and like GVT sign, and for verifying the tokens, by using GVT verify method. Also, the idea is to create an array of users, and you'll be need to create an authentication endpoint. Inside this endpoint, you'll be need to send the send in response token in this endpoint, and create several endpoints that will require the token in the header. So this endpoint will be needed to validate if the endpoint has the GVT token, and if not, the response should be like 403 status code, like forbidden, or 401 status code, authentication error, and so on. And some acceptance criteria. So user can log in the application and receive GVT token. Once GVT received, it should be in authorization header for all requests to protect resources, and the user cannot access protected resources without the GVT token that is valid. Okay, maybe you have some questions. I hope you understand anything I said. But maybe you have some questions. Maybe some topics needs to be re-explained. So cookies and token based on session ID, which backend need to generate and send. So cookie and token based on session ID. I am not sure that I understand the question. So cookie and token based on session ID, which backend needs to generate and send. Could you please rephrase the question? I'm not sure that I understand it. Which of them backend needs to generate? So backend needs to generate token and GVT based on signature. Only stored in backend. Only backend know how to run it. Right. Secret in GVT. Yeah. So on backend we store only. Okay. If you want, we can have a small live coding. I will share the screen and we'll try to create a simple server with a simple request with a simple GVT token to provide you to show you how it works. Maybe it will answer some of your question about the GVT. What do you think? I know it's possible to use cookie to log in without password and ID, so that means cookie have encoded ID and password. Nope, cookie doesn't have your ID and password because it like security issue. When you log into your application to some website, you'll have a session ID, and this session ID will be stored in your cookie. This session ID is just ID. I can like see this ID, but this just identifier. So there is no like useful information inside this ID. But when you make a request from your front end to backend, this ID will be included in the request, and in the backend will check this ID and try to find the information on the database by this ID. And if there is some information, that means that you're actually like trusted user, and you can access some, I don't know, data. So password and ID will be stored only on backend, and it will be used only for login like request. After we understand that this user provides right credentials, we generate session ID or token, but we do not include inside this session ID or token any sensitive information. We do not include login, we do not include password. Okay, guys, what do you think about demo? Do you need it? I'm talking about demo of GVT. Uh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me try to. So actually, I wasn't ready for demo. I didn't prepare. But let's try to do it. I'll share the screen. So if you have any questions, you can ask them in chat. I'll like try to check it regularly. And yeah. So here we have. Let me remove everything. I have some.
I'm sorry, can you make it bigger?
You mean font, yeah? To make font bigger. Let's try to make it, I don't know, 22. Do you see it, okay, or do you need like bigger?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Ah, but okay, I've changed font, but in not in. Um. Unfortunately, I don't know how to change the font. Okay, change. Oh, great. I think I know how to do it now. Oh, great. I can do it by scrolling. Cool. Yeah, let's start. Yeah, I've tried Control plus it, but it didn't work. Okay. First of all, we need to create. First of all, we need to install JSON Web Token. JSON Web Token package. JSON Web. Yeah. Then we create an express. We first of all we let me use GS file instead of TS. Yeah. Oh, okay. We have express here. That's cool. Okay. Then we create express like instance, and then we create a couple. Yeah. Of course, we need to start the server. Listen. Do some console log like server is started server, and use, let's say, by default 3000 port. Also, we need to create some, let's create some users. Let it be users just array. Inside this array, we'll have users, yeah? Then let's create an endpoint for creating user. It will be posting point. Okay, we need just to use also body parser because we need to have a body. Let's use express JSON, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere, somehow. Okay, I hope it will work. Request response. Okay, let's say we have some endpoint for creating a user. Let's name it login. Okay, so we'll get the information about user from body. So inside body, we'll provide the information about user, and this information can be, let's say, name, login, password, of course, and I don't know, let's just add some more information, let it be age. So after we get this information, we first of all, we need to check if there is such user in our array. We need to check like if the user with such information is, so let's say login will be unique field. Yeah, there can be two users with the same name, but there cannot be two users with the same login. So that's why we'll check that user with login that we provided in body is not exist. Yeah, that does not exist. So is user okay exist. I hope I don't know English very well. I'm not sure that this sentence is like the name of this variable is correct. But okay, if the user is exist, let me think. Yeah, if user if there is such user, we will provide we will return an error. Yeah, because it will be 400 error. Yeah, and we'll send like message user with such login already exists. Is user exist I don't know. I think it does user exist. Okay, let it be is. Okay, after that, we are sure that there is no such user and we create such user. So to do it, we just push the information to our, but it not login, let it be register, because we create a user register. We create a user and we provide this information to our users array, then send just like everything is okay. Message user was successfully created. Okay, that's a point for registering. After that, we will be needed to create login endpoint. So the interesting part about login endpoint, so with this endpoint, the response of this endpoint should be token. So for the login, we just need only login and password. User need to provide this information. After that, we'll be needed to find the user with such login and with such password. So for that, we will be needed to have like user here and user login equal login and user password equals to password. If there is no such user, we say that login or password are not correct. Yeah, because they didn't provide such password. And after that, what we are doing, so we use the model that I've installed. Yeah, the name of this model is JSON VIP token, and let's name it GVT. Okay. So we need to generate the token. To do it, we use sign method. Inside this sign method, let me check a little bit. Sign. Okay. Okay, that's not really interesting documentation, but let's. Okay, let me check. Okay, the first argument is payload. The second one argument is private key. Okay, right. So in the payload of our GVT token, we'll provide the user login. Yeah, and we can provide also. Let's rename it a little bit. We can provide also user age just for demo. Okay. After that, we'll return the token to front end. Let me check the questions. I see the question. I haven't answered it. What is the session secret option used for? Okay, is it used to hash the password? I'll show. I'll show you this little bit later. Okay, I think we can try to run this. I don't know why it's not working.
Sorry. In the above the variable you check whether the user is mid type. If yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Thank you. Okay, listen. The port is the first argument. That's why the server wasn't started. Okay, now the server is started. Okay, now we can use Postman. Okay, so this Postman we can use for making requests. So we use local host then 3. Okay, when we just make a GET request, we get we will get 4 error not found yet. That's expected. Then we use user then register, and then we provide some data about the user. So for such data, we need to provide all this. Yeah. So name will be just Ivan. Login will be 1 second. Okay. Okay, so let's think about login. Okay, login will be login and password will be password. Yeah, I'm not really a secure person. uh, I need to use post request. I send the request, and user was successfully created. We got 201 status code, and yeah, everything okay. See some error here. That was from previous request. Okay, now we can use this request. So what we need to do, we create a second request, but we'll go to login, and instead of name, instead of a big object, we'll provide only two fields. It's a login and password. We send this request. Login or password are not correct. Okay, it doesn't work. Why? Let's think. We find the user by user login and user password. Okay, something is not working. I don't know why. Let's try to debug it. It will be fast. Okay, send create the users and create. We can see that we have if found user. If there is no such user, that's the error. Yeah, because the user is the user is found, but the if statement was incorrect. Okay, then create the user again. Then okay, fifth. Yeah, that's okay, because for GVT token, we need to provide a signature. I'm sorry, not signature, but secret. And let's create secret. As I said before, it will be stored only stored only in the server, and this will be like very secret string. Okay, so this secret will be used for as a second argument for sign method. Okay, now we use again create the user, and then we see the token. Yeah, that's just a response. And if you see, yeah, let me copy. Okay, great. You see this token, yeah, and inside this token, we can see that there is three parts of this token. The first one is just some like characters and numbers, then dot, yeah. Then we have the second part, then dot, and then we have the third part, yeah. So this is like three parts that we've discussed before. What we'll do now? So we go to Google Chrome, then we go base 40 blah 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 decode. Okay, I've just copied the token here, yeah, and let's leave only first part, yeah, and we decode like base 64, we decode, and we can see that it's just JSON. I've generated the token, yeah, that I get from here, and I successfully decoded this token. But only the first part. Yeah, in the first part, we have some specific things like algorithm, we have some type like GVT. So let's put here the second part. The second part is, as you can remember, is payload. We decode this thing, and we now see that here we have the information that we provided. It's login, yeah, and the age. Also, we have some specific thing. It's IAT. It's like invalid add. So I don't remember like the what this letter stand for, but the idea is the time when this token will be expired. So the token has some expiration time. After that, this token should be regenerated. So, but you also can manipulate how many minutes or hours the token will be valid, but we didn't do anything. So I think I don't know, 30 minutes will be used by default. Okay, this is like our second part, but we have the third part. The third part is, as you can remember, is signature. And if you try to decode this one, we'll get nothing, some strange. That's because it's not a base 64 encoded string. There is a website named GVT.io. You can provide the token here, and this website will decode this token. And you can see that in the header we have some information. In the payload we also have some information, like that one that I generated. And here's the example, like how the signature was created. So it's like base 64 plus header, then plus payload, and then plus the secret that I can provide here. As you can see, the signature is invalid. Why? That because here just instead of signature, we have some strange, I'm sorry, instead of secret, we have some strange string. And I can provide here my string. Let me copy it. If I provide my string, signature verified. Okay, that's how GVT works. And if I'm a bad guy, yeah, I'm the hacker. I'm trying to access this token. I get this token, yeah. I like by using this base 64, I can decode this token, yeah. Then I can provide the information here, yeah. I can change anything here. I can, for example, change like login, not login, but I wanna be super mega admin, for example, yeah. And then I need to like encode base the same thing, but encode this data. Now I have another token, yeah. Then I go to this side, I'm trying to put it here, but I have a signature is invalid. Okay, I did some mistakes, but the idea, I hope you understand the idea. We cannot do it we cannot change this information without knowing the secret. Okay, after we generated, let me see, maybe you have some questions. Issued, yes, issue at the time when this token was created. Right, you're absolutely correct. And after that, we can create additional endpoint. For example, like let's create the endpoint. It will be get, like I don't know, age. For example, when we want to create the endpoint, which user can use to get the information about what age this user. Okay, not age, maybe like what do we have else? Name, password. Okay, let it be just info, like or me, like the information about me. So what will we do? We first of all, how to understand which user is requesting his information. To do so, we need to get the information about his about like what login that this user has. So to do so, we need to get the authorization header. So this authorization header should be, actually we can like use any structure we want, but it recommended to use the header. Let me open some text editor. Okay, it's expected that the value of this header will be bearer. It's like the name of the approach we are using, and then some like token. Yeah, and to get this like token part, we need to split this authorization header and like by space, and then get the last part. Yeah, I mean the token. So then we get the token. But since authorization header can be omitted, yeah, we need to make sure that the token, the header, that we won't see any errors. So authorization header and like that. Okay, so now in token we'll have the information about the token. After that, we need to verify that everything is okay, that the token is valid. So verify we need to provide GVT string, secret or public key. Okay, so what we need to provide here, we need to provide token. And then we need to provide a secret that we used to generate this token by second argument. As a result, we'll get the information like let's say token data. The data that we encoded to this token. If you log this data, you'll see the information from the payload. So after that, we can use token login. Okay, yeah. Token login, we can find users, find. We have like, okay, no. Yep, we have login here and token login equal login. Okay, and then we send this information to backend. Status 200. And that's it. Yep. Okay, let's check how it works. How it works. First of all, yeah, since we store this data in memory, like just in variable, after every change, the server will be restarted and all the data will be cleaned up. So that's why I need to recreate user after each change in each change in my code base. So let me how to hide this part. Okay, so let's create the user. So user was successfully created. Then let's log in. After that, we copy this token, duplicate the tab, make a get request, user info. Am I correct? User me. Okay, me. If I do so and try to get information, we'll get an error. And the error, like JSON with token error, GVT must be provided. So we haven't provided the GVT here. So I mean, authorization header wasn't provided. The token is just an empty string. So we provide empty string here, and GVT verify function said us, okay, I'm sorry, but you didn't provide the token. So that's why we didn't see this console log. The error was thrown. Okay, so then we provide this token. We create an authorization header after. It's not a header, it's a params. Here we create an authorization header, and in the value we provide bearer and then space and then the token. And now we send the request, and now we see the response. We see the response, the user that was created. After that, we can create additional user, but we can change login. It will be not Ivan, it will be, I don't know, like Elon Musk, let's say, yeah. Inside the login, we can have some, I don't know, space X-Men. I'm sorry. And the password can be, okay, it actually doesn't matter. Okay, let's change it anyway. The user was created. After that, we log in to this user. To do so, we change login and password here. The new token was generated. And we can provide this token instead of old one. Authorization, again, the error. And now we see another user. When we return a previous token, okay, I cannot return the previous token. Okay. So that's how it works. After that, talking about the hacker way. So let's say the hacker, I'm the hacker. Yeah, I'm logging in this website. I see the token. Yeah, I'm logging as Elon Musk, but I want to be logged in as Ivan. What can I do? I can. Oh my God. Okay, it's in buffer. So I can go to this side. We have three parts of this token. Yeah, I remove the first part and I remove the second one. But base 64 decode. Yeah. So I removed the first part and I removed the last part. So now it's only the second one. Let me copy this token to do not lose it. So now we have the payload of our token. Yeah. After that, I put this payload here, and instead of space xman, I decided to provide login of another user. Then encode this data. So now I have encoded the second part of like the payload. So here the previous token. So I put here previous token, but change the second part. I changed this second part. I think this equal signs can be removed. Now I have created another token. Let's check. So I can go here, provide this token, decode, and we can see that we have the first part, we have the second part, and in second part we have login, another login. And we have signature, but we don't know. We bad hack. We not really clever hackers. We don't know about third part. We think like we can change only payload, and we did it. After that, I can change the token here, change it to the new one, and I have an error. Yeah, and inside the error you can see invalid signature. So that's the reason, because I didn't change the signature. I changed only payload part, but when we change payload part, signature will be changed. Yeah, but I left the previous signature, and backend like our library regenerated signature, and a new one doesn't like match a previous one. So that's why we cannot just change like the payload and use a new token. Okay, I hope this demo helped you to understand how it works. Let's check the questions. Why we need decodable like header payload in GVT token? We actually, yeah, that's a good question. That's just easier to use it. So ID and login, this information, this information is not like sensitive. If we provide this information, we won't it won't be security issue. So you can hash this information. You can decode this information by using some algorithms that can be encoded only by using, I'm sorry, you can encode this by algorithms that can be used some, I don't know, keys, encode keys, decode keys, but it's not necessary because GVT provides enough functionality for you to use it without any problems. You just don't need to include very like sensitive information such as password, email, I don't know, SN number, and so on. Watching your code is really effective for understanding this lesson. Okay, that's a good point. I'll try to have more live coding maybe from the next lecture. But yeah, thank you for your feedback. Login, access token, attach token into header. Hacker will stay here and listen the response back. Actually, it won't work. So the example you said you send hacker. So if hacker can listen for the header, why hacker won't listen for the login part, for the first request? Inside this request, hacker will be able to read the login and password. And with this information, hacker will be able to log in without any things. So hacker will be able to generate his own key, his own token, and so on. But actually, this attack, which you like showed here, the name of this attack is man in the middle. You can Google it, but in like shortly, it HTTPS. I mean the secure one. In HTTPS, when you send the request, all body, all headers, and even the query parameters will be will be encoded. Yeah, and hackers won't be able to listen to this traffic. Even if they listen, they will see different like symbols, but they won't be able to decode this information because a special like there are a lot of special protocols that will be used, and the special certificates, and again hashing algorithms will be used to ensure this security. So it's not possible if you're using HTTPS. If you're using HTTP, it doesn't matter. You're using like cookies, you're using like tokens or Auth, it doesn't matter, because hacker will be able to listen to your traffic and gets the information that you're sent from front end to back end. And if you're sending password and login, but you have to send this information because you won't be able to log in, yeah, hacker will be able to listen for that. If I forgot and new cookie is generated, what happens to the last cookie? There are a lot of different strategies. It's a good, yeah, that's a good question, but there are a lot of different strategies. There are like expiration time, and all session will be removed due some in some time. Also, it can be possible that only one login is possible, and when you log in from another device, all session will be removed. So yeah, that's how it works. So in most cases, it will be just expired and removed from backend, but sometimes it's needed to limit the number of logins. Hacker can be internet provider, Wi-Fi owner, only if HTTP is used. If HTTPS is used, even internet provider cannot read your traffic. In most cases, there are also ways how to do it, but in most cases, it won't be able. The only thing that your providers and Wi-Fi owners uh, can get from when you're using HTTPS, the only thing they can read is the domain names that you're using. For example, they can read, okay, you're using Google, but they cannot see what you're trying to, what request do you use, what endpoint do you use, even what data you send. So all this information cannot be read. There was like suggestion proposal. The name of this proposal is DNS over HTTPS. So if this proposal was accepted, then even DNS, I mean domain name, cannot be read from providers or anything. But if we accept this way, then providers won't be able to filter traffic. For example, some providers provide some providers provide the functionality to filter some traffic like child mode and so on, and they won't be able to restrict access to some websites. For example, it can be possible that some websites can be restricted in your country. Yeah, I'm from Belarus. Yeah, and in my country there are some websites that I cannot access. And if such like proposal was accepted and everyone uses HTTP, the DNS over HTTPS, then providers won't be able to create such kind of firewall to filter such traffic and to restrict access to some websites. Uh, I s- I see some trade FB account. You mean somebody is selling the FB account, right? Um, I don't get the question. You mean like the sentence? You mean like somebody is selling
Sorry,
Facebook?
I write some additional part below it.
Okay, they use a tool to import something and can log into account without password login. What happened in that? Unfortunately, I cannot say because I didn't see this tool, but um, import something to use a tool to import something and can log in. I don't know. It can be some issue with Facebook, like maybe Facebook can provide the access when you, I don't know, when you log in through Google, but they did it wrong. And when you log in through Google, it's possible to make a fake response from Google and so on and so on. I don't know, because there are a lot of vector of attacks can be used. Okay, maybe cookies, but if they import cookies to your like website, then only you'll be logged in by as a specific user. which cookie is stolen from. So for example, if you stole my cookie, if you steal my cookie, you'll be able to log in as me, but you won't be able to log in as any other user. Like you said, lots of companies have their own encoding protocols. Not actually. If you're talking about encoding protocols of GVT, so GVT in most cases is not encoded, only base 64 is used. Again, algorithms also, they are very like popular ones, and they just use the popular ones. It's not, there is no need to create its own algorithm to encode the data. But I also I don't say that companies don't do it, but in most cases they don't. But again, if there is some specific need, like we need to improve the security by, I don't know, 1 million times, of course, some specific things can be created. But again, if we improve security, we'll lose something. Okay, I see two more questions. I have logged into multiple of Netflix accounts using shared cookies without password and ID, but you can even change the password and ID. I have logged into multiple of Netflix accounts using shared cookies without password and ID. Yes, because cookies is not about password. So cookies and GVT tokens is that when you log in, so they provide information that user is logged in. Yeah, if you change the password, it's possible that the same cookie will be, you'll be able to use the same cookie for some period of time. It depends on the, again, strategy which company uses. If cookie can work, how can I reset it over time? Because maybe some websites I don't remember I register. So talking about cookies, we can go to website, go to network, and inside, I'm sorry, not network, application part. And here we have a lot of storages, and one of them is cookies. And you can see that we have a lot of cookies. I have a lot of cookies. I think you too. We have a lot of cookies from different domains. Google, but in most cases, some analytics data, base 64, and some of these cookie may present information about you. Some of them just to support some functionality. Some of them about your authentication and so on. You also can go to your settings in Google Chrome. I think in other browsers the same approach. So you can so I think you can find the way how you can clear cookies inside data when you close the window. So you can use this approach. So you can clear everything from your browser. So after that, all cookies will be deleted. Okay. Any questions? Okay, I'm just until so during your topic, I will share the presentation to the channel. Okay, I'll share it here. You mean when someone has stolen your cookie, yeah? So yeah, there is a problem. Yeah, 1 second, sorry. Yeah, there is a situation when you have a cookie and someone has stolen your cookie. This like hacker will be able to use the site, some website, and this website will think that this user it's you. But in practice, there are some additional like level of security. For example, the cookie can be belongs to some IP, yeah. And for example, when your IP is changed, you will be needed to re-log in or to some your information, to fingerprint of your browser, and so on and so on. And when the user tries to use your cookie outside of your like fingerprint or your IP, server will not accept such cookie and will say like, I'm sorry, I don't trust you, please re-log in. I have very interesting, very good very good article about refresh and access tokens. There is strategy when you use two tokens, like access and refresh one, but this like article is on Russian. I'm trying to see if there is an English version of this one. Okay, I'm not sure that there is English version, unfortunately. Okay. Maybe some forks can be used. All right. Okay. Yeah. I don't think it's possible an English version.